Hey girl, welcome back to Girly Trinkets. I'm Kaya, and if this is your first time hanging out with us, here we like to talk about. First of all, here we are here for the girls, the girls. But here we do girl talk, we do advice, we talk about our relationship with God and anything that entails that because everything entails that. We talk about friendship, we talk about self confidence, we talk about growth, we talk about, learning yourself and becoming a new version of yourself. We talk about healing and we talk about mental health and we talk about just all the fun things. And so I'm glad you're here. On today, we're going to be talking about dating and relationship advice. Now, I feel like I'm not an expert because I'm only 30 years old and I've been married for 6 years. Um, and it'll be 7 years, no, 6 years this year, and then we'll be going into our seventh year of marriage. But I also have had my fair share of situationships, relationships, and a little bit of hookup culture. And to be honest, um, it ain't given. So today's dating world and today's relationships seem to be built on a false sense of things. And so I don't know, I feel like I have to give the girls the tips because one, we want a successful dating situation, and we want, at the end of the day, no matter what culture is trying to push, no matter what we try to push or tell ourselves, every girl deep down inside wants that love story. Okay, we don't believe Beyonce when she say, "Who wants that love story anyway?" Cliche, cliche. Every girl wants that love story. The cliche and the exactly the cliche one. That's the one that we want. Okay, so let's get into it. My first tip, I feel like, is really towards dating scene right now and culture is, girl, stop the hookup culture. Just stop the hookups and stop the situationships. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and act like a goody miss two shoe. Like I said, I've been involved in my fair share. However, that's why I'm telling you what I'm telling you. One, it messes with your self esteem. Two, most of the time it's toxic. And three, most of the time men, they can detach pretty easily. And yes, you have some girls who are kind of done been through some things and they need healing from their trauma, that can too. But for the most part, girls, we cannot just be in and out like that, in and out like that. Like, we have some type of attachment. On top of that, honey, when you start hooking up and being in a bunch of situationships, baby, the name is gonna spread like wildfire. And if depending on what spot you in, that name is gonna follow you for a little bit, okay? And so you want to kind of stay away from that. Now, if that is currently you, baby, you can always stop and you can always start onto a new path because at the end of the day, it's either going to leave you with a broken heart or a bad name. And on top of that, you are special. Okay. You are a special girl. Everybody don't needs to be able to have a version or a piece of that special girl. Like, everybody does it. And I know the way culture is, and culture being for a while, it's like you're taking back your freedom, you're being the woman that you want if you just only do hookup culture. But that is the last thing from the truth. That is the last thing from the truth. When you do that, you leave a piece of yourself with that person and you share a piece of yourself with that person. And depending on the type of person that they are, like the character of the person that they are, they going to drain you. They're going to take that piece of you and harbor it and keep it, or they're going to be toxic, or you're going to gain feelings and that person is not going to be in the same boat. And so Stay away from situationships. Stay away from hookup culture and all that. That's my first dating advice. That would be my first dating advice. My second is don't be afraid to be forthcoming and be yourself, because if you don't be yourself, then that person might end up liking a version of you that doesn't really exist. And then if you're not forthcoming, then you will like put up with a lot of stuff while you're dating that person because you did not speak up for yourself. As I've said on previous times that we hung out, like being able to advocate for yourself and speak up for yourself, especially as a female in society, is key to success. Because like, don't let people play with you. Like, don't let them play with you. Don't let them play with you. And so really, when you dated somebody, if they show a red flag or they do something that you ain't feeling, tell them. I'm not saying like be a jerk or be like a nagging person off gate, but I'm saying like be honest, like, oh, I really don't like that, I really don't deal with that. And then if they continue to do it, or if it's truly a deal breaker, be honest with yourself and say, he did his nose while we was at the table. Like, yeah, never again. Never again. Never again. And so, like, be honest with yourself, because if not, it's gonna be 2 years, you're gonna be, or a year or a couple of months into dating him, and it's gonna be like, oh, he's still digging up his nose at the dinner table. Nasty. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to keep dealing with that over and over again. Like, you don't want to do that. So, my next piece of advice, and this goes into more of like I don't know, like relationship realm, like once you're in, because dating people, because everything is so lustful and lax currently, I feel like people confuse dating and actually being in a committed relationship and being in a relationship. Because dating, honestly, is supposed to be like, oh, I like this person. And then, like, for the first couple months, y'all might go on a couple of dates. Y'all might talk on the phone. Y'all might text throughout the day. Y'all might give somebody, like, little gifts and stuff. Because it's basically like you're trying to show that person that you would be, I guess, like a good boyfriend or girlfriend or wife or husband. So, like, you know what I mean? So, you're, like, dating. It's like intense talking and courtship. But in today's society, I feel like dating and relationships is more like, when I see you is when I see you. When I talk to you is when I talk to you. Oh, you didn't pay for my nails to get done. I don't like you. Or from the men perspective, like, oh, this my little boo thing that I see at the night, throughout the night. That's another thing. To run back to my advice number 1 of staying away from hookup culture, that's one of them. If you have not been able to show that person face to a friend, a family, and I'm talking about in person, like, you don't nobody know that you deal with that person. And I know culture is like, keep it on the low, keep it on the low. And I'm not saying that everybody need to be in your business while you dating somebody. No, that's not what I'm saying. But if you are if you are part of the secret society, that is not your man. Baby, that's not your man. You're not his woman. Y'all not even in a situationship. Because even when you're in a situationship, his homeboys and your homegirls, like, they know, that's the person that you're dating, that you're, getting to know. If you only see that person at night, night, if you only see that person once every other week, that ain't your man. And honestly, you need to get away from him. Get far, far, far away from him, because he will cause confusion in your mind. I'm not lying. If y'all are not actually dating, if he's never taken you into a restaurant, into a movie theater, into, I don't know, a friend's house to eat dinner, to the park, that is not your man. That is a toxic hookup situationship. Get far away from that man. Get away from that man, child. when you're dating, that's more of, if you're actually dating somebody, that looks more like, y'all might go out on an actual date. So that person, you are seen with them in the daylight. It might be y'all texting, talking on the phone, get to know each other. Not nothing super heavy, super intense, but it's really like that light flirtatious of get to know each other, hanging out with each other, and stuff like that. But let's get back to the committed relationship advice, okay? I just had to clear that up because I don't know, like, people be confusing situationships with marriage. Baby, that, them is two different things. People confuse being in a heavy relationship of 2+ years with somebody that they went on like 4 dates with and barely talks to them. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Because at the end of the day, it feels like you're taking over your freedom and you're taking over your like self-identity. Like, I'm a woman and I do what I want and I do what I want. It makes it seem like that, but really truly, nah. The men are winning. When you participate in hookup culture, when you participate in situationships heavily like that, it feels like you're free. That's what lust and the enemy tells you, that you're participating in some type of freedom. No, baby. The men are winning. The men are winning. They're winning your mind and your body and all that type of stuff, okay? They're winning. They're winning. Let's not do that. No situationships and no hookup culture. We do actual dating, and we do actual relationships, and we do actual marriage, okay? So, and trust me, I'm speaking from experience. I'm not telling you something that I did not experience, that I do not know, okay? So let's get to the committed relationships. When it comes to committed relationships, my advice, and it's going to sound like, of course, cliche and like I'm repeating something that you done heard 10,000 times, but communication is key. Because in any relationship period in the world, communication is key. Like, you have to communicate. Like, if you ain't talking about it, you ain't about it. Like, you not about it. Any misunderstanding, any parts of you that they need to know, any healing that needs to take place, any growth, any connection that needs to take place, it is going to start through communication. You need to communicate with your partner if you're going to have the sex relationship. I'm talking about whether it's like you don't like the way they crunch their toes, or whether it's like they hurt your feelings when they misspoke the other day. Like, you have to communicate, or there's going to be unsaid things, there's going to be resentment, there's going to be hurt, there's going to be pain, there's going to be confusion, and then there's going to be like something happens and you're going to get mad at that person or really sad, you know what I mean? Because y'all didn't communicate about what happened 2 weeks ago. My next advice when it comes to committed relationships and marriages, it would be to deal with yourself. Like, deal with yourself. And that goes back to the, like, even dating stance. Date yourself first. And I know, I'm the kettle calling the kettle back, or the pot calling the kettle black. Whatever the saying is, that is me. I am that person because I did not do that. Date yourself. Get to know yourself. Like, because if not, you're going to get your face played in. I promise you, you're going to get your face played in. And then that goes into the healing part, especially when you're talking about marriage, because marriage is so permanent, it's so sacred, and it should be honored and respected as such. So you don't be wanting to be coming in there dripping all your blood and mess and baggage all over it. And if you do, I'm not saying that because I'm in the process of that now, of healing while I'm in my marriage, but you don't, to the best of your ability, you don't want to drag all that in there. So really dating yourself and taking the time to heal, deal with any uncertainties, any trauma, any uncleared up things in your past, or with your relationship with your parents or your siblings or any person in your life prior to you meeting your spouse. Like, really healing from that and really dealing with that is key, because sometimes we do get offended or we do have a hard time with certain things because we haven't dealt with ourselves. We haven't dealt with our healing. I mean, with our trauma. We haven't dealt with our unspokens. And so it becomes really difficult to have a successful relationship because your trauma lens is on, or your pain lens is on, or your prior experience or knowledge of uneasy experiences is on. And so it's hard to make sometimes clear decisions when you are walking around with those lenses on. So to the best of your ability, if you can get those lenses together prior to you getting in a committed relationship, that'd be good. But even if you currently are in your marriage or committed relationship and you have some things to do, that's okay. Your girl is in therapy, and so I know all about that. And so really taking that time to heal and stuff, because then you'll be a better contribution to your relationship, and it'll be better off for your mental health and for your heart. My next advice for a committed relationship would be to always seek to, unless it's something real trifling, forgive quickly. If that person stepped on your toe, if that person forgot to take the meat out the freezer, if that person left toothpaste and water on the sink, baby, why is we mad all day? That's what I'm talking about, that trauma or something you ain't healed from, because it's really not that serious. Wipe it up and move on, because guess what? Oh, little Miss Perfect, you are not perfect. You do stuff that irritates that person too. Oh, you didn't know? Oh, I'm so sorry. But yeah, like, you have to forgive quickly. Unless it's something, like I said, that is really betrayal or really trifling. You have to learn to, like, deal with it head on. So communicate, right? Identify if it's your trauma talking, and then forgive and move on. Because if you're going to be dating this person for a very long time, or you are actually in a committed marriage with this person, how long are you going to hold on to that toothpaste being on the sink? How long? You going to just be wasting y'all time. And so that would be my next piece of advice. Talk about it, of course, and then forgive quickly and then move on. The next thing would be to have as much fun. Sometimes, especially in marriage, and especially when you have kids, life could be so heavy. So heavy. It could be so routine, and it could be so, like, I don't know, repetitive. And so really try to keep the fun. And that's even in a committed relationship, before y'all even get married and in a house together with kids and stuff like that. But like, after a while, like, that funness kind of like withers away a little bit, just because you know that person, right? So you're not jumping at the fact that you learned that their favorite color is green. That's my favorite color, by the way. You're not jumping at that, right? And so it kind of dies down. And so you have to be intentional about keeping the spark alive. So that would be my next piece of advice. Be intentional about having fun, and keeping the spark alive. That is going on dates. That is saving time for each other, watching shows together. But it can even be in the fun little stuff, like not being irritated that your husband wants to smack your butt, or or him being irritated that you want to do it. But like, doing little stuff, like, giving a wet willy, or hugging that person, because you might not know. Like, yesterday, definitely needed a hug. Hug that person for no reason. Like, not that you shouldn't be hugging your spouse, but you know what I mean, like, hugging that person at random for no reason. Really being intentional about seeing how that person feel, where they at, and keeping the spark alive, keeping the fun alive, laughing a lot, joking a lot, because life can be so heavy. And so really keeping that spark going, and keeping that interest in each other, that fire, that funness, that young love, like, type vibe going, is so important. And both parties, both husband and wife, you and your boo, y'all have to be both intentional about it. This is not a man's job to make sure the spark is alive. It's not only his job solo. It's both of y'all jobs. Both of y'all names on that marriage certificate. Both of y'all committed to the relationship. So it's both of y'all like time to shine and to be intentional and show each other love. To speak each other's love language, to have fun with each other, to create dates for each other or little moments of sacred spark with each other, to hype each other up, like be fun with each other. And so, and not let life be so heavy that it weighs down on how you feel about that. So I don't know. That is like my little bit of advice that I got for today. I mean, if y'all want to do a part 2, I feel like this is a part 1. Because I feel like I really definitely would have more to say. But I just wanted y'all to take that little bit and chew on it. How about that? Y'all take that little bit and y'all chew on it, okay? So that's kind of like all the advice that I have for today. I feel like I definitely will do a part 2. I just wanted to, spread the love across. And so y'all let me know if y'all want to do a part 2, because we could talk days, we could talk months about relationships. Like there's a lot of things that happens inside of a relationship. So yeah, let me know, and we'll hang out again next week. I can't wait. Bye.